Please, divorce me. Excuse me? Did I do something wrong to you, Kevin? No, Emma, you were a perfect partner for me. Then why? I want to support my ex-girlfriend who got cancer. What? Kevin, what are you talking about? 3 days after the sudden announcement of divorce, leaving me bewildered. My husband disappeared, leaving behind a divorce paper. 2 months later, I was approached by a man in a wheelchair. Hey, Emma. Long time no see. What? I didn't realize immediately that this man with no spirit was my former husband. Ignoring my confusion, my ex-husband continued to speak. I became paralyzed. Actually, my name is Emma. I have been married for 3 years to Kevin, who is 3 years older than me. We were colleagues at work, and I admired and respected him for his ability to work efficiently and smartly. Whether he noticed my fervent admiration or not, he started to be aware of me, and our relationship developed into a romance. When we decided to get married after 2 years of dating, I was quite envied by my female colleagues. After getting married, I changed jobs, and we both worked hard to save money for our own home. In our daily life, I often felt cherished by my husband, thinking I married a good man. Emma, do you want to go to the movies this Saturday? It's been a while. I'd love to. It's been a long time since we went to a cinema. We used to date there before we got married. Nostalgic, isn't it? Emma, you haven't changed at all since then. What do you mean? You're still as beautiful and a wonderful woman as you were back then. Oh, stop it, you're embarrassing me. He never forgot to compliment me like this. One day, when we were enjoying our blissful life. Hey, I was thinking of going to my high school reunion next month. It's been a while, what do you think? That sounds good. You'll be able to meet your old friends, right? Yeah, I guess so. I moved away for college, and it's probably been 12 years. Everyone must have changed a lot since then. Maybe. My husband decided to attend the reunion. However, this choice brought changes to our lives. When my husband came back from the reunion, he seemed unusually pale. Is something wrong? You look pale. Are you okay? No. It's nothing. I'm okay. I'm going to take a bath. If you say so. That night, whether I asked about the reunion or brought up other topics, the conversation didn't flow as he seemed distracted. The next morning, he was also out of spirits. Kevin, you forgot your lunch. Right. Usually talkative in the morning. My husband didn't speak much today and avoided eye contact with me. Kevin, is something wrong? You're being annoying. I told you, there's nothing wrong. Stop nagging. Excuse me? It was the first time I saw my husband responding to me in such an annoyed manner, and I couldn't help but let out a surprised voice. Sorry. I'm fine. I'll be going to work now. Saying that, my husband left for work. I also got ready and headed to the office. After that, I thought my husband was gradually returning to his old self. But about a month after the reunion, while I was washing the dishes after dinner. Emma, I need to talk to you. Is that okay? Just wait a bit, I'm almost done with the dishes. Okay. I felt a chill down my spine at my husband's unusually solemn expression. Trying to convince myself it was nothing, I finished the dishes. I'm done. What did you want to talk about? Could you sit down here for a moment? Is this going to be a long conversation? As I sat down, my husband started to speak. Suddenly, he got off the chair and kneeled on the floor. Please, divorce me. Excuse me. I was so surprised by the sudden mention of divorce that an odd voice came out of me. I'm sorry to spring this on you suddenly, Emma. But after a month of agonizing, this is the conclusion I've come to. Please, divorce me. Did I do something wrong to you, Kevin? No, Emma, you were the perfect partner for me. Then why? I want to support my ex-girlfriend who got cancer. What? Kevin, what are you talking about? So, my ex-girlfriend Sarah got cancer, and she doesn't have long to live. I'm the only one she has. I want to be there for her in the end. Wait, Kevin. Does that mean you were cheating? No, I swear I wasn't cheating. But when I saw Sarah at the reunion, she said she has only 6 months to live because of her cancer. She's still single. But why do you, a married man, have to support her? She has her parents, doesn't she? She's my first love. And she apparently can't rely on her parents right now for some reason. I'm the only one she can turn to. But how come she's relying on you, not knowing if you would even attend the reunion? Doesn't that sound odd? It's not odd. She had no one else to turn to, but then she met me at the reunion. One more question. Do you think a person with only 6 months to live due to cancer can attend a reunion? She wanted to see her old friends one last time. Are you sure she had the strength for that? She must have gathered her last bit of strength. Did she look like she was in the final stages of cancer? She looked fine, but maybe she was hiding it with makeup. No matter how much I questioned the strangeness of it all, my husband wouldn't listen. With no other choice, I ended the conversation for the time being. You might have agonized over this and concluded. But this is all too sudden for me. I need time to think. She doesn't have much time left. Hurry up. That day, to avoid being pressed about divorce any longer, I quickly went to bed and pretended to sleep. Of course, I couldn't fall asleep. How did things end up like this? If I knew it would come to this, I should have objected to him going to the reunion. I am haunted by a whirlwind of regret. Maybe when tomorrow comes, this will all have been a dream. With that thought, I spent a sleepless night. The next morning, as I was preparing breakfast, my husband who had just woken up spoke to me. Emma, have you made up your mind? It's like the nightmare is resuming. Kevin, are you serious? Are you still asking that? I'm serious. We're getting a divorce. How can you say divorce so easily? I told you, I want to be there for Sarah. So, you don't care about me? You are healthy and have your whole life ahead of you. Plus, you're capable, you can live without me. Unlike you, Sarah is someone I can't leave alone. What? Then why didn't you marry this Sarah person from the start? Of course, I wanted to marry her. But we lost contact. That's when I met you. So what, you married me because your first choice was out of touch? Honestly, maybe. That's awful. I'm going to work. I slammed the front door and headed to the office, filled with frustration and sadness about the last 3 years. I couldn't see through my tears as I walked to the station. After returning from work, I finished preparing dinner and waited for my husband. But he didn't come home. Alone, I finished dinner and aimlessly watched TV. When the date was about to change, my husband finally came home. With a refreshed look, he said, "I'm home. I got caught up talking about the future with Sarah, sorry for being late." Well, it doesn't matter. We're getting divorced soon anyway. I was speechless, realizing I no longer existed in my husband's heart. Maybe I need to brace myself. Having been happy just a while ago, the thought of, why? How did it come to this is overwhelming, and I'm struggling to decide. And now, 3 days after being suddenly confronted with divorce, I wake up to find my husband gone. Strange for him to be up so early. But he's nowhere to be found, not in the living room, bathroom, or anywhere. On the dining table, there's a divorce paper filled out by my husband. So, he's left. After days of hearing about his ex, I'm surprised to find myself relieved that he's finally gone. I explain everything to my parents and in-laws, and we proceed with the divorce. The paperwork is filled out and submitted to the city hall the next day, and the divorce is finalized. Just like that, my husband and I became strangers. My parents were furious, and my in-laws were shocked, causing my mother-in-law to collapse. Since then, remembering our happy times only brings tears. Still, I can't help but wonder, why? How did it come to this? A friend and former colleague, Mia, who had supported me since I was secretly dating my ex-husband, comforted me. Mia informed me that my ex-husband had voluntarily resigned from his job. No one knows where he is or what he's doing now. I try to focus on work and not think about my ex-husband. About a month after the divorce, my mother fell ill and started going to the hospital. Having already caused her worry during the divorce, I decided to accompany her to her appointments. 2 months after my ex-husband disappeared. That day, as I was visiting the hospital with my mother. After the consultation, as we were walking through the hospital lobby, a man in a wheelchair approached us. "Hey, Emma. Long time no see." What? I didn't realize immediately that the man with no spirit was my ex-husband. Ignoring my confusion, my ex-husband continued to speak. "I've become paralyzed." Actually, only then did I recognize him as my ex-husband and started bombarding him with questions. "Wait, Kevin? Paralyzed? How?" "Actually, I was in an accident. I was deceived. Sarah suddenly disappeared again. I was chasing after her and got hit by a car at an intersection. I've only recently been able to move around in a wheelchair." I was speechless. So, the husband who discarded me so easily is now swiftly facing divine retribution. Serves him right, I thought, barely containing my laughter. It's laughable, isn't it? I've been full of regret. "Haven't you heard from my mom?" "No, I only spoke to your mother when we were reporting our divorce. I wanted to see you. I wanted to apologize." Why now, all of a sudden? I was a fool. The most important person was you, Emma, and I got deceived by that awful woman. Deceived? What do you mean? She didn't have cancer. The terminal diagnosis was a lie. She swindled money from me and then disappeared. While searching for her, I saw her across the street, tried to cross in a hurry, and got hit by a car. It's all Sarah's fault. It sounds more like it was your fault for not thinking clearly. I responded coldly. Right, maybe so. But, Emma, I don't want you to abandon me. What do you mean? I want you to remarry me. Do you realize what you're saying? I do. I want you to forgive me, and I want us to walk through life together again. That's unthinkable. Have you forgotten what you said to me? Or is it because your number one choice ran away again? So you're settling for your second choice, me? That wasn't what I meant. At that time, I thought saying that was the only way you'd agree to the divorce. Even if you say it wasn't your real intention now, I can't believe it. Even if it wasn't, if you truly cared about me, you would have never said such a thing in the first place. I have no intention of remarrying you. I don't even want to see your face. Don't say that. Do you not realize you're only saying what's convenient for you? You're just looking for someone to take care of you now that you're paralyzed. I'm not such a convenient woman. That's all I have to say. My mother, who had been silently listening to our conversation, chimed in. Kevin, even if Emma agreed, I would oppose your remarriage. Do you not understand how much Emma has suffered? She's finally starting to smile a little. How dare you show your face to her? We'll take our leave now. With my mother's final words, my ex-husband, unable to say anything, just hung his head. My mother and I then returned home from the hospital. As an epilogue, my mother had been informed about my ex-husband's accident by his mother, and that he had been wanting to see me. However, after seeing me cry for days, and now that I'm finally trying to move on, my mother couldn't forgive him. She conveyed her feelings to his mother. Despite understanding as a mother herself, she contacted us, knowing her son was speaking out of convenience. My mother and his decided not to tell me anything about their conversation. After the divorce, I hired a detective agency to investigate Sarah, the woman who caused our divorce, and knew her true identity. Not telling my ex-husband about it might have been my small act of revenge. Sarah had left her hometown to attend university and live alone. During that time, she started doing various part-time jobs and, upon being introduced by a university friend, began engaging in compensated dating. She gradually started making a significant amount of money from it and lived a lavish lifestyle. Her method involved lying about being diagnosed with cancer and facing a terminal prognosis, or being threatened by a bad man to elicit sympathy and persuade people to give her money. Eventually, she stopped attending university and took a leave of absence. Until that time, she seemed to have continued her relationship with my ex-husband, whom she had been dating since high school. Choosing wealthy businessmen over a poor student like my ex-husband, she ended their relationship. The detective agency's investigator heard from Sarah and my ex-husband's classmates. And among local classmates, Sarah's story was well known. My ex-husband, who had moved away from the area, was unaware of these rumors. Even at the reunion, she was lying about being terminally ill with cancer everywhere. However, her complexion was good, and it was clear she wasn't the sick person she claimed to be, so nobody was fooled. My ex-husband, who fell for such an obvious scam, left me speechless. Moreover, Sarah was arrested for fraud 6 months later. As for my ex-husband, he spent all his savings on Sarah, took out loans, and then Sarah ran away with all the money, leaving him penniless and afraid of debt collectors. After quitting his job and with his paralysis, my ex-husband's life is filled with hardships. His shallow actions led to his downfall, and it can only be seen as just desserts. On my part, though I spent days crying immediately after the divorce, I now live a fulfilling life with a clear mind. Focusing on work has paid off, steadily building my career. And I was recently appointed as the leader of a major project. It looks like even busier days are ahead.